Welcome back to Guitar Discoveries. Today we're going to talk about a couple of accessories that you probably wouldn't ever think of, but that can really help you if you have to change guitar strings fairly often, and if you want to just keep your guitar in good condition, cleaned up. So if you're like me, you've changed hundreds if not thousands of guitar strings in your guitar playing career. And at a certain point, why not make that as easy as possible? Well, there's a really cool tool under $20 called a power peg. This is an electric string winder. We're going to dive into that a little bit. And also there's this cool cleaning tool called a Nomad Tool that'll get in the nooks and crannies. Stick with me. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about this Takamine 12 string. This is an N-1012. And the other day, this is one of those guitars, I keep it in the living room. It's just something that I occasionally noodle on. It sits on a stand. The other day I walked down and realized, oh, that high G string, that little .09 high G, had just spontaneously broken. Now, these were coated strings. Normally those last quite a long time. I went back and looked and I realized these have been sitting on this guitar for 2.5 years. So yeah, it's time for a string change. Needing to change the strings on this guitar made me start to realize and think about the literally thousands and thousands of strings that I've changed over the course of my guitar playing career. And that made me think about a couple of really cool gifts. My son Eli gave me a couple of things. He works at a music school and they have a retail store. And he gave me these two gifts for Christmas. One is an Ernie Ball power peg. This is actually an electric, battery-powered string winder, basically. Now, I've had manual string winders forever, and they definitely make string changing a lot more pleasant. But, hey, he was saying he changes a ton of strings for their customers, and he swears by this. So this is a motorized string winder. I'm going to give this a try today. There's nothing better to try a string winder on than a 12-string, right? All of a sudden you got to do double the string changing. You want to make sure you got the right tools. So Ernie Ball power peg, that's one thing. The other thing that he gave me was this thing called a Nomad Tool. Now this is they market it as a string surface and hardware cleaning tool. As a guitarist, you know, one of the things that I find frustrating is trying to get into some of the nooks and crannies. A lot of times when I change strings, I don't remove all the strings and then change them. Sometimes I'll just do one at a time, and so a tool like this can be really handy as you want to reach into those places that are otherwise kind of inaccessible. So I reached in there, done. That is nice and clean. This Nomad Tool has two things. One is a brush on this end, and then the other is this sort of flat pad-like thing. Now they market this as something that you can slide under your strings. You know, that's something you can go over the tops of them, but also you can fit it up into here near your headstock. And, you know, there you go, that's all clean. For the areas that you can't reach with that, you can go around with the brush, and sure enough, it is just picking up all the dust in those areas. Very cool, actually, it works well. So the first thing I do when I'm going to change strings is set down a towel just to protect the back of the guitar. The other thing I'll use is a neck support. This one happens to be from Planet Waves, but it's very simple. Just, you know, gets your neck up off the table and just makes it generally easier to do what you need to do. So let's give this a try and see how long it takes for me. Again, not rushing. I'm not going to be like trying to do this as fast as I possibly can. That's not my point. My point is to sort of do this the way I normally do. I tend to relax while I'm changing strings. I don't make it, you know, into a contest. But I wanted to see how using that motorized string winder is going to change the amount of time it takes, and frankly the amount of work it takes to change a bunch of strings like I have to on a 12 string. So let's give it a try. Alright, so I'm going to be putting on Elixir Nano Webs. I did a feature on coated guitar strings. Please go and check that out. I'm a big fan of coated strings for exactly this kind of reason, especially with something like a 12 string that's going to be sitting around a lot, not necessarily get a lot of use. having coated strings just makes them last much, much longer. It just sort of helps deal with the elements generally. Moisture, humidity, things that can dig into and corrode guitar strings. That just doesn't happen as quickly or easily with strings like elixirs. All right, now here's another thing. I tend to change strings from the bottom, the lower strings, across to the top. I have no idea how I got in that habit. I think it's my desire to kind of keep the neck tension even, but even that doesn't really make a lot of sense. But that's what I'm going to do. So I'm about to time myself standard with just by using my hands, changing the lowest string, which happens to be a 27 on these elixirs. All right, so let me get my stopwatch going here. Boom, let's go. So I'm doing this without a string winder right now. I always do a little bit of pulling, which really helps with things going out of tune later. Then my habit is to come up here, do a quick crimp, and cut. All right, so the time code on the video will tell us exactly how long that took. Now, I'm going to get out my power peg, Ernie Ball device here. Let's see, turn it on. Basically what you've got is a little trigger here, and one of them will tighten and one of them will loosen. So it's very simple, just you don't even have to switch the direction, it's right there on the trigger. So I'm going to go to my, what is essentially my 11th string here, and let's give this a try. Oh, going the other way. So loosen is the top. So I do that for a second. Put that under. Wait, what's up? Oh yeah, there we go. This one had a lot more winding. Whoa! Okay. That's a beautiful tone. Here's my 47, my 11th string. Wow. Okay, I'll admit, that was really easy. And then flick this, crimp, and cut. All right, what's that time? That was even with the fact that my winding was a little bit messed up. So based on that, I'm going to use this puppy to do all the rest of these 12 strings. Let's see how long it takes. So it's interesting that you press the top to loosen. I'm going to do one more thing that I think will help my G-string not break, and that's just to take a lead pencil and put some of that lead right there in the nut so that it allows it to flow back and forth more easily. Yeah, so I'm just taking that little bit of graphite there and just coloring that in. When you get over, you got one set of tuners on this side, and then when you get over to the other one, you reverse the way you put the string in. So this time I push it in through the little hole there. Ooh. So you're always coming from the center through the little hole in the tuner, and then bending back, and then feeding the string, the top of the string under, and then holding it like that. Now in this case, gotta grab this, and I'll be doing the bottom again so I can see it tightening. Now with the G, I really don't want to over tighten, so I'm gonna kind of figure out where I am. these, man. They can really get me worked up. Not even gonna stretch that one. Just gonna let it be what it is.
Something he had found. Oh, come on, children, get your heads back together. Oh, come on, children, get your heads back together again. The days are getting warmer now. The nights are getting shorter now. And you know we can make it, 'cause you know we survive. And we don't have to take it, 'cause you know we're alive.
Something like that anyway. Nice to have my 12 string back in shape. Have that high G. Love that. All right, so you can find a power peg for $20 or less. There's a new model of this that's a little more expensive. You can find a Nomad Tool for under 10 bucks. There's another version of this that has a Nomad Tool Slim along with it that's a little more expensive. Either way, these are very low cost items considering just how nice they are and how they help you keep things cleaned up and helps you get your strings changed quickly and painlessly. Pretty awesome. So I encourage you to check them out. I'm going to put links for these items down in the description below. If you use those links, I get a little something from Amazon. It's pretty small, but I appreciate it. And I hope you get a lot of value from these. They're pretty cool things, and I want to thank my son Eli for turning me on to them and giving them to me this year. If you'd like to support the channel, I have a Zazzle store where I have designs that I've created. This one here is for the Heritage guitars. Pretty cool. I've got ones for Harmony, Stella, some off-brands like K, Teisco, things like that. Things you just can't find anywhere else. Love it if you check those out and maybe get a t-shirt. Go to guitardiscoveries.com if you want to get access to all the videos that I've done. I've done a mess of them. Tips, tricks, axes, you name it. And please subscribe to the channel and pass it along to other folks. When you subscribe, hit the bell, and that way you'll be notified when new videos come out. I so appreciate it. I love sharing info like this and helping make your guitar playing life more fun, more inspirational, and ultimately more musical. See you soon.